Codependency was something that greatly contributed to my addiction. My codependency meant that I often, when in a relationship with other people, would strive to make them happy before caring about my own happiness. Eventually, the codependency got so large to the point I got into domestic violence relationships where I was told that I was nothing. I was told that everything I did was wrong, that I wasn't pretty, that I was this, that I was that. Eventually, it felt like I was something different and awful every single day. And my self-confidence got to be about yay big. And when my self-confidence got to be so little, I didn't think I was capable of anything. My name is Gabriella Mead, and I have been free of any mind-altering substances since October 5th, 2018. My life started off a normal childhood. I didn't have any trauma or anything in my childhood. But unfortunately, when I was 15 years old, my parents divorced. And before that, I really had a storybook home. So it took me a lot by surprise. I had some things happen in my life then where I really could have used a parent or at least some kind of support network. And I didn't really have that at that time in my life. So at that time, I did start abusing marijuana. It started off slow, like a lot of people say. It was fun at first, hanging out in my friends' basements, things like that, skipping school and having fun. Unfortunately, it progressed worse and worse. My life became big into substituting. I would get addicted to one substance and then let it go, and then I would get addicted to another substance. By the time I reached recovery, I had pretty much been addicted to every substance there was, and yet I still didn't think I had a problem because I was able to put each one down previously. My drug use got a lot worse because of grief. At one point in my life, I took care of my grandmother because of Alzheimer's disease, and she passed away. That was my first instance with grief, and I didn't have the coping skills in order to handle that or have many people there for me to talk to make my way through that. Unfortunately, after that, I also lost a boyfriend that I was with for 9 years to a heroin overdose. That was my second instance with grief. And even after the first instance, I did not know how to handle that or cope with that. So my way of coping was turning harder into drugs and alcohol. I pretty much used after my ex passed every day for a year heavily until I was arrested and pulled over. Upon my arrest, I did 6 months in jail before I was offered to do drug court. Drug court was something that ended up saving my life. I was put into a residential program where I went through for 16 months, and it completely changed my life. I relocated to 45 minutes away from home, and while I was there, I found that support network that I was craving all along. I found fellowship in people. I found friends. I found people who really understood me and the things I'd been through, and also people who had experienced a lot of the same things I had been through. All of a sudden, I wasn't alone anymore. There were people who understood my past and were accepting of me. Throughout all my time in addiction, I completely lost my sense of self. So once I got into recovery, I regained myself again. All of a sudden, I slowly, through what people told me, I got my self-confidence back. I remembered who I was again. All these things that I forgot about because drugs and alcohol were the more important than myself for a really long, long time. Like I said, I found myself, I found fellowship, I found people. I believed in myself. There were people who told me I could do things even when I didn't think that I could. And it turned out that once I applied myself, they were right. I learned that all these things that I didn't think I was capable of, sobriety, having healthy relationships, just being able to be independent and take care of myself, were all things that I could easily do, even though at one time I woke up every day thinking that things were never going to get better again. Thankfully, because of recovery and all that I've experienced here, I know that things are going to be okay no matter what. I know that my life will never be perfect. I will have bad days. I will have sad days. But I know that today I do have the coping skills and the people in my life to get through anything that I can. Codependency was something that greatly contributed to my addiction. Um, my codependency meant that I often, when in a relationship with other people, would strive to make them happy before caring about my own happiness. Um, Eventually, the codependency got so large to the point I got into domestic violence relationships where I was told that I was nothing. I was told that everything I did was wrong, that I wasn't pretty, that I was this, that I was that. Eventually, it felt like I was something different and awful every single day. And my self-confidence got to be about yay big. And when my self-confidence got to be so little, I didn't think I was capable of anything. How I addressed those things was just by coming into recovery and meeting people who told me good things about myself, who told me that I was capable, who built me up, people who loved me before I was able to love myself. I was around so many good-hearted people who told me things about myself that I hadn't heard in a long time. Upon hearing those things, those are the things I like to tell people today in order to build them up. In order to work towards this problem in recovery, I went through many codependency groups. I got involved with organizations that had to do with domestic violence. I dealt with my self-confidence problems. I learned that it's important to make me happy, that my happiness is the most important thing, because if I'm not happy, I can't make anyone happy around me or take care of anyone else. Some other traumas that I experienced in the past were grief. Grief was a huge one for me, something I had never experienced, and it was hard for me to wrap my head around. How can someone that I knew my whole life all of a sudden be gone? How could I never get to say goodbye? How could I get answers to all of these unanswered questions? It kept me sick and in deep drug use for a really long, long time. Through that, I took grief groups. I talked to other people who had been through similar things I had. Today, I use that in order to run a grief group here in Olean, and it is the best experience in the entire world. Every week, I get to be around other people who openly share their grief and experiences with me. It is an amazing experience for someone who has been stuck in addiction because they lost someone to openly share that kind of information to you. I know that being in that group helps me just as much as it helps the other people. In order to get sober, I had to do a lot more than just put down the drink or the drug. A big thing for me was finding a reason to get up every day. And that started for me in a residential program. At first, my purpose was just simply making my appointments every day. That may sound really like a really simple thing to some people, but when you're just coming into recovery and you've had no schedule, nothing you've had to do, it was just 15 years of me having fun and doing me. You know what I mean? I had no responsibilities. And the responsibilities that I did have, I rarely showed up for. So for me, my first purpose was just being able to complete the program, which started out small, just making my appointments every day, because I didn't even know if I was capable of that. But then over time, I realized that, yes, I could do that. And it got to bigger things. It got to, okay, now I'm going to finish drug court. That kept me going for about the first year of my recovery. Then after that, it was finish probation, things like that. Until while I was on probation, the recovery coach classes were available, and I decided to take them. And my purpose then became helping others and giving back to people has been my purpose since that point in time. It was because of the people who were there before me that made me want to stay sober. They made it look good. They were laughing. They were happy and having a good time sober, which is something that I had never experienced before. Today, the biggest joys I get are meeting other people and having them share their lives, their passions with me, and helping them get over any obstacles they have. Sobriety is a blessing, and it has given me so many rewards. I have so much to be thankful for today. I have my daughter back in my life. At one point, for a long time, she wasn't able to live with me. I couldn't take care of myself, let alone take care of her. Today, I wake up every day, and I know that my daughter is proud of me. Um, she listens to the advice that I have to give, and she looks up to me as a role model. That is something I never thought that I would experience. Um, Another reward would just be being okay, being still and being quiet. That is a super huge reward to me, because when I was still out there, and even in early recovery, I wasn't okay just being alone by myself in a room, because when I did, that's when the wheels would start turning. The wheels would start thinking of how much farther and how many things I had to do in life in order to catch up to everyone else my age. How was I going to fix all these problems that I'd made? Just fix all these relationships that I destroyed. I could not just sit still in a room and be quiet, because it became a nightmare for me. And today, because of all the work that I have put into myself, I can happily sit there and love peace and quiet. I don't have all those voices in my head telling me everything I need to do to get my life back on track or fix things. I'm okay with being the imperfect person that I am, because I know today that I'm working every day to be the best version of myself. Another amazing thing that has happened is that because of me sharing my own experiences with drugs and alcohol with others, I have the amazing experience of everyday people being open with their struggles and trusting those things with me. And I know that before, I couldn't be trusted with anything. I couldn't be trusted with their change laying on the table in the room with me. And today, people share their secrets with me and ask me for help. Obviously, financial security is a huge thing. Before, I couldn't be trusted to pay bills. Today, every day, I know I will have a wonderful meal in my belly and a roof over my head, and my daughter's taken care of, and I have more than I need. Um, there's so many things. The fellowship and the group of people that I have surrounding me. I know no matter whatever hardship I face in the future, I'm going to be able to handle it, because I have so many people that ask for advice and so much support, and people that would drop whatever they were doing in order to be there for me if necessary. I cannot, there's so many blessings that have happened to me because of sobriety. I could not even possibly answer them all. Whenever I meet somebody who doesn't think that they're capable of recovery, or else they're struggling in it, I like to always share with them a part of my story about how, for the longest time, I didn't think I was capable of being sober or clean for a day. I didn't think I was capable of raising my child. I didn't think that I was capable of speaking in a room full of people. There were so many things that I didn't think I could do at all. It's very important for me to tell them a bit of my journey and tell them about how I use all the things that I got through to remind myself, whenever I face a challenge, that I got through 100% of the stuff I didn't think I could get through before. So I know that I can get through the next thing that's behind me. Will I do it perfectly? Probably not. You know what I mean? I may struggle a little bit, but I get through everything. I think it's really important also to tell people the good traits about themselves. In today's world, we're so hard on ourselves and other people. I think it's important to tell people the good that you see in them in order to build themselves up. Like I shared, I came into this program feeling this big. I didn't think I could do anything. And it took people taking the time to look me in the eye and tell me that you're worthy of recovery, you're worthy of the things you want, and that you're a good person and can do this.